Hello, everybody. I'm Natalie, and this is Scientology Life After a Cult, where I do a recap of what has people buzzing on the internet in terms of Scientology news. And I also talk about my 35 years in Scientology and how I left with 3 generations of my family. So happy to see you here. Hello to everybody in the chat. If you have a question as we go along, put question before it. And then your question, that'll help me find it because the super chats get automatically starred, but I need to watch out for questions. I want to thank my moderators today, Dip Me in Glitter, Nancy's there, my Tony is there, and we hit our first goal of 10,000 subscribers. So later today at 12 p.m. Central Time, Tony and I are going to be on a live, and he's going to be on here to answer all of your questions. We're going to talk about what it's like, for me anyways, finding love after Scientology, after spending most of my life in a cult. And he's going to answer questions as well. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And again, that's today, 12 p.m. Standard Time. Central Standard Time. All right. Now, be sure that you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, check that subscribe button. And if you like the video as we go along, please like it. Like it as well. And if you're catching this on the replay, participate, jump in. I want to know where you're listening from, where you're watching from, what your thoughts are, any questions that you might have, because that helps me determine what to talk about, because there's so much. There's so much. And there's going to just be more and more and more. And we all are here for it. I know I definitely am. I want to jump into what's happening over in the UK. There's an article that came out. This just, it's interesting to me how NARCONON, which is a front group for Scientology that claims to be a drug rehab, they have been in the news over the years multiple times for this same thing, for fraudulent claims, for taking advantage of vulnerable people. And that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing here with this article. So we are going to peek at it, and we are going to talk about this. Scientology-linked UK drug rehab left vulnerable people traumatized. And I don't know about you guys, but that's something that really bothers me about Scientology is how they take advantage of these ins with people, with their vulnerability, people who are truly seeking answers and wanting help, and that gets exploited, and they're given help and answers that don't actually help or answer anything. So let's take a look at this. Says it's exclusive use of controversial churches' repetitive drills led to patients becoming shattered or paranoid, witnesses say. We have talked about on this channel how Scientology will go ahead and use these training routine drills that are repetitive over and over and over again, and other drills as well over and over and over again. And it's all designed to like replace whatever ways people had of thinking with more Scientology thinking. They want you to put on the Scientology cult sunglasses and see everything through that lens and respond how they train you to respond. So let's see here. An unregulated rehab center linked to the Church of Scientology put mentally ill people through intense psychological drills that allegedly left them traumatized and in trance-like states, an investigation by the Observer can reveal. Former patients and staff at NARCONON UK say vulnerable people seeking help for addiction were expected to complete mental exercises similar to methods used in Scientology's controversial auditing process at a secluded compound in rural Sussex. Before arriving, they had thought NARCONON was offering a holistic approach to rehabilitation and were drawn in by promises it could help them get drug-free for good. Ooh, it just boils my blood because it's just BS. In a call with an undercover reporter, a NARCONON salesperson also claimed the program was not related to Scientology. But over a 3-month period, participants were allegedly subjected to methods near identical to those used by the religious movement. In some cases, they took part in the repetitive drills for so long while in vulnerable states due to their mental health or past substance use that they would zone out, become paranoid, or break down, according to corroborating testimony from people familiar with the program. Participants were also allegedly left feeling suicidal and as though their minds had been shattered by the exercises, which often involved following commands such as stand up, sit down, or pointing at different objects. The drills could last up to 5 hours a day for several weeks. These are some of the in NARCONON, what they use is totally Scientology. It's not just similar, it's exactly. It's just packaged differently to seem like it's not Scientology, but it's the same. NARCONON said the drills, based on writings by L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology's founder, were mentally strenuous and required discipline, but had helped save lives. It said they were not a religious doctrine, but had a positive secular application. Experts and witnesses likened the methods to a form of obedience training. People working at the facility were also expected to complete the program. The allegations raised questions over how a rehab with links to one of the world's most controversial religious movements, accused of abusive practices, is able to operate unregulated in Britain. Marketed as world class and listed in an NHS directory, NARCONON's Sussex facility on a 9-acre campus near the town of Heathfield opened in 2015, but it has not been inspected since 2016 and has never been assessed to ensure its program is effective or safe. Instead, it has been operating without oversight for the last 5 years due to a regulation loophole the Observer's investigation has found, and remains free of the same scrutiny that other addiction programs face. It just blows my mind. Unregulated, no oversight. While the Care Quality Commission oversees substance misuse services, it says NARCONON's program is not within its remit and suggested this was because its approach was, quote, alternative. It said the service was not known to be provided any regulated activities and had been considered dormant since 2019. Records released from under Freedom of Information laws show that in that time, the watchdog has received 14 complaints, which it did not formally investigate, saying it had no duty to do so. Despite this, NARCONON continues to display a good CQC rating on its website. From a prior inspection, which assessed its accommodation, management, and provision of personal care, but not the program itself. Dr. David Bremer, medical director at addiction charity Turning Point, said the loophole showed the need for better regulation. The Department of Health declined to comment. The Observer's investigation also suggested NARCONON is more closely linked to Scientology than it lets on. Its operations are supported by the NARCONON Trust, which is principally funded by the International Association of Scientologists. Senior staff are members of the church. In Scientology auditing process, Scientologists complete exercises they believe will help them better become spiritually enlightened. To learn the skills Scientology says are needed for auditing, followers take part in a series of drills known as training routines. These include following repetitive commands, sitting perfectly still, or undergoing persistent questioning closely resembling drills used at NARCONON. Now it goes on some more. Oh, actually, that's almost the end of it. We'll just finish it. Professor Sally Marlowe from the Institute of Psychiatry, Psychology, and Neuroscience at King's College London said the approach does not sound therapeutic. It is extremely concerning, she says. NARCONON UK, the charity behind the facility, said its students were assessed by a GP before the program, which also includes long sauna sessions, high doses of vitamins, and cost about 15,000. I forgot, brain fart. Is it pounds in UK? Anyways, you get the point. It said it was not a medical treatment and did not have patients, so did not need to be registered with CQC as a substantive misuse service. Sheila McLean, NARCONON's UK manager, said it was deeply regrettable that some people did not get on with its methods, but insisted they were safe. Even the best run services have their critics, she said. This just blows my mind. It's unregulated. Other experts are saying, like, yeah, this is BS, yet it continues. How does that happen? How does that happen? It's happening. I put a link to that article and I put a link to all of the videos that we're going to talk about today in the description of this video. This is a great example of a Scientology front group pretending to provide services for vulnerable people seeking help. And in truth, this is, it's Scientology. And those sauna treatments, I agree. These are things that are not safe. It needs to be regulated. And hopefully they'll take a closer look at this since this article came out. Let's see here. Where do we want to jump? Oh my gosh, there's so many things that I want to talk about. I can hardly stand it. I know I say that every day. There's just more and more. And thank you to everybody who emails me at natalie@tonkatalk.com and shares links with timestamps in there of things that you think should be highlighted and you want to take a look at it. That really helps because there is so much content out there in regard to Scientology, its abuses, and what's happening. So it really helps me a lot. I appreciate you. All right, let's take a look at something that happened over in Clearwater at a city council meeting. I found this to be very interesting. This is a local business owner addressing the Clearwater City Council. And he's addressing what he refers to as the elephant in the room when it comes to Scientology. Listen to what he has to say, and then we shall discuss.
Today, ultimately, I'm here to address an elephant in the room. I think a lot of us are scared to address. They're constantly in the downtown block. I have my 3 businesses, and I see it constantly. People are scared to go to downtown. People are scared to go to downtown because of the Church of Scientology. Every regular customer I'll have there, they're terrified. I don't know why. I came here. I don't know if it's. I don't really care what it is or what it has to do with anything, but I know that the people are scared, and it brings a really negative picture to the downtown area. To be there constantly reminding people that I'm not associated with the church or I'm not any kind of member of the church. People are scared to bring their children down there because of what we hear on the news. And I hate to say that, and I hate to bash any creed or anything like that. It's more of a standing of principle. I believe, like in North Korea, any place where you have someone who claims to be an enlightened despot, what has way too much political power, what tends to happen in our community is that in every single instant of that, there's promise of prosperity, promise of business being drawn down there, but all I see is closed buildings and a shell of a town. Fake storefronts where I see that the only people that actually put in money is me. I don't have that money to spend. And when it's a situation where the enlightened despot claims to be doing something virtuous, the only people that get hurt are the people that we're there to defend, and that is our women and children. And we are constantly reminded of that by every allegation that comes out of them and the news, time and time again. What I'm asking for you guys is to stand with us, stand with a community that wants to be built, wants to move forward and make this town what I believe to be great again. Prove to us that you're on our side, you're on the citizen side, the people side. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
That is powerful. And it really makes clear the impact that Scientology has on local businesses. And it's not the kind of impact that you want. That's not something that, really anybody should be proud of. And I was really happy to see someone from the business community, someone who's, he has 3 businesses in the area. This is completely legitimate. And to bring that up and bring it to the attention of the city council, I think it's fantastic. And I'm sure, I have no doubt that there are many local business owners outside of Scientology behind him on this as well. I mean, think about it. To have to tell people who come into your establishment, to have to clear up that you're not part of Scientology, because there are so many people in Clearwater or people who visit who don't want to support Scientology. It's just completely unfair to business owners in that area. So I'm really glad that he spoke out and that there will be more people who will be doing so as well. So that was in Clearwater. We are going to jump over to Los Angeles, to Hollywood, William Gude, he has another channel called Film the Police, which is where I grabbed this video. And he has another channel on YouTube, Scientology Audit Streets LA. And on his other channel, he talked about this as well, but I grabbed this from his channel, Film the Police. And on Hubbard Way yesterday, Scientology got themselves a new tactic. They shut down the street. They shut down Hubbard Way. You need approval to do that. And I know that where I live, it costs a decent amount of money to do that as well, claiming that they had an event that was going to go on until 11:30, but no one ever saw this event. Let's listen to, this is William Gude. He sounds like their permit went to 11:30 at night. So speed him up a little bit here. Yeah.
So you trying to tell me that the sidewalks are closed off right now? A street closure is a street closure. Can I see the permit? Oh, this guy, I know this guy. I dealt with you over at USC. I had to teach you something about the laws with being in the street. I remember you. You were with Sergeant Deneen that night. Sergeant Deneen had to put you in your place. All right. And what event is going on here that I'm missing? They say there's an event. You see the misuse of the system? And so the Scientologists have what? All these cops out here. You know, you think of the prices, how much this cost us. You know, that guy right there, the P3+1, he's costing us 150, 160,000 or more. Then you got the sergeant right there, he's definitely 155 and up. Then you got another P3, because you know what? You got to have a P3 out here, and I assume one of them is a rookie. These are the resources that are being used. And here they go with the music. I'm going to pause this for a second.
It just blows my mind. I mean, you see, there was no event, and there was video from earlier too. There was no event. So now we're just going to shut streets down and shut down public sidewalks to keep people off. Again, it's an abuse of the system, which is how we see Scientology respond each and every time. Not with any, let's have open dialogue about this. Let's address some of the concerns that the public have. No, because what do? Never defend, always attack. L. Ron Hubbard said to do that. They will continue to do that. I think all of you here know, as we talk about these things, you hear these same things over again. Never defend, always attack, right? What's the first rule about Scientology? I can hear y'all yelling it. Don't talk about Scientology. Buy a book, sell them a book. It's mind-blowing. So over on the other side, also on L. Ron Hubbard Way, we're going to jump over to Jessica PALMADESSA to her stream. She captured some great stuff. It was a rainy evening, but it did not slow anybody down. The Squirrel Squad live streamers, protesters, they showed up, and I don't know why there was such a large fire response. I did not catch that. If somebody knows, share it in the comments, share it in the live chat, why there were such a big show from the fire department. And it did appear that they went into the Scientology hotel there. What was also fun about this is they're getting creative. The Squirrel Squad is getting created on using their own music that they can safely use to drown out Scientology's one copyrighted song that they're abusing the YouTube copyright system with to get streams taken down. And there is a speaker, I believe, by the window that someone was trying to play to do that same thing. And Solomon somehow connected to the speaker through Bluetooth and kept shutting it down. And then they turn it on again, and then Solomon would turn it off again. But this clip here shows really the fire response.
Wait. Hey. That's what comes up as copyright-free clown music. Oh, we got a helicopter too now. Look at this. Look at this.
What? Now it's comedy every night.
Oh, this is all a distraction for that van, probably.
They don't walk. They keep them in the van so they don't socialize. So once this
Why do we have fire trucks, guys? I would love to let you know. I would love to let you know. Up, firemen leaving the building. All right, so are they leaving now or what?
Episode 2 of season 2 is right now.
Literally. Oh, they finally leaving.
What a waste of resources. I still don't know what they were doing there. I'm sure someone will find out and let us know, because I know we have people who are friends of the channel who listen to the police scanners and might be able to fill us in on what that was all about. We did see the one firefighter coming out of the building. What are they doing? Who knows? None of it makes sense. It's just crazy. It is crazy making, that's for sure. And again, it's just going to backfire, as everything that they've done does seem to go, because often what's happening is they're abusing legitimate resources, from YouTube to law enforcement to the fire department, all over the place, because they have no defense in what they're doing. We are going to jump over to Aaron over at Growing Up in Scientology. He shared something really interesting the other day, and I just want to jump onto that. And again, in the description, I shared links to the videos. And if you are not following these creators yet, I urge you to. It's a great way to support them as well, and to support this effort to get the word out. So let's take a look at what Aaron over at Growing Up in Scientology was saying the other day.
Chris without a hellcat. And by the way, guys, Scientology has assigned a 24-hour PI team to Chris without a hellcat. That is for real. That is not speculation. These guys are just giving the Squirrel Squad everything they could hope for. The more content Scientology gives streamers by trying to harass and intimidate and threaten and stalk, the more streamers are going to jump into this space. So thank you, David Miscavige. Thank you, Scientology, for being the gift that keeps on giving.
And make sure you follow Chris without a hellcat on YouTube for sure. It's, again, why too? There's multiple. There are a few key pages, key channels, I should say, that Scientology is working hard to have taken down. Jessica PALMADESSA, Scientology Audit Streets LA, Confident Chris, and Chris without a hellcat, to name a few. So why they got so obsessed with him, I don't know. It's a good question. He needs to be saying, why are you so obsessed with me? Because I don't know. It's strange. And a lot of this makes no sense, because it makes no sense. You can't make sense out of irrationality. And remember, I think that David Miscavige and others gets together each day. And what do? Their little morning planning on how they can be as culty as possible. Ooh, let's put 24-hour surveillance on a kid that live streams outside and pretty much does nothing but that, is just exposing, who has had polite conversation, by the way, with multiple Scientologists as they left the building. And it makes me question, it makes me wonder, is that what they're so afraid of? Are they more afraid of the Squirrel Squad live streamers or protesters that are politely approaching Scientologists, and Scientologists are interacting and being willing to communicate? Are they more afraid of that than they are people outside yelling, "It's a cult, it's a cult"? I don't know. I'm speculating. I think it's a question to kind of flesh out, because they sure are going hard on Chris Without a Hellcat. And that's something that he's kind of become known for, is his interviews with Scientologists, which makes me wonder, is that why they're so afraid? They're afraid of communication. For an organization that prides themselves on helping people improve their communication skills, on arming Scientologists with the ability to confront and shatter suppression, they sure do have a funny way of showing it. A real funny way of showing it. Down the Rabbit Hole News, Rabbit shared an interesting take on her channel about, will there ever be any justice? Let's check in children of Scientology and awareness. And I just wanted to share a little bit about what she had to say. I really appreciate that she's taken this up and is one of the creators on YouTube, never been in Scientology, but recognizes the injustice, the fraud, and the abuse. She has a phenomenal background that makes her really qualified to speak on this. So let's jump in.
Continue doing as a never end is continue to talk about.
Let me slow that down though, so we can hear her better. All right.
The abuses of this cult, right? We're going to continue to do that. We will continue to expose this cult and any other cult that needs to be exposed, right? But one thing, because I'm a true crime channel, for those, and I had said my credentials earlier, but for those that don't know me, I have a bachelor's in criminology and a minor in social science. I have a master's in social work. So that's really where my field is coming from. I like talking to people. I love true crime. That's like my jam, right? So a lot of that is coming from that. So like when I speak to, Miriam or other folks that have come to my channel, I kind of want to know, like, well, where does it end? How do we bring more awareness? And I think the more we can do, especially on the internet, is continue to expose Scientology, right? Because it is true crime. Thank you, Amy, for saying that. Scientology is true crime. Everything that's happening to these kids is criminal. Everything that's happening to these families, it's criminal. The secrets that people are holding, it's criminal. It's all criminal. All of it. So we need to continue to talk about it. While y'all are talking about, all this other stuff, which is great and fine, however you want to do it. But to me, this is important. This is an important aspect of this channel. And
love that. If you're not subscribed to her channel, you're going to want to be. Down the Rabbit Hole News. And again, I have a link below to her full video. It sounds like she's going to be talking with Miriam Francis again, more about her whole journey in seeking justice for what happened to her, for the horrific essay that happened with her. I even hate to even call it her perpetrator, who happened to be her father, who is also. But she's doing a great job, and she has, Rabbit has that, the background. That's the kind of knowledge where I think will really help fill in the blanks, even for people who are under the radar in Scientology, who might be watching these different channels. It's so helpful. One of the things that I think is so important when you leave Scientology is to find help, whether that's through therapy, through just some way. Because as you start to shed that cult mentality and the cult programming, you need to have new ways of coping and handling things in life. Otherwise, that is where you get into trouble. Even though Scientology doesn't help, it can make these things worse. It is a solution. It's a default that people in Scientology will go to. But when you get rid of that programming, there needs to be something else there to help them cope. Otherwise, you're just left with all these emotions and thoughts, and it can be incredibly overwhelming. And that can be dangerous for people. So I love that she is addressing this and working to raise awareness as well, and that she's creating a safe place for people to share their stories and to reach out and to talk about this. I just appreciate her so much. I really do. I really do. All right, we are going to go over to San Diego. San Diego, because DOA Defender of Ants was out there doing something in true DOA style. He wanted to take a personality test, but of course they would not let him in. So he decided to get a copy of the questions and answer them anyways and let Scientology know his answers. Take a look.
Sir, I thought all are welcome. I thought all are welcome. This could be a good time to go over the brochure. Let's start with question 1. I got it. Well, if you're not going to come out and take the personality test, I'll just do it right here. All right. Instructions. Okay. Instructions. Answer every question as to how you feel.
Skip the instructions and get right into
there, but I don't have feelings. Number 3. Do you browse through railway timetables, directories, and dictionaries just for pleasure? Why would I go through railway timetables, directories, and dictionaries for pleasure? Maybe my father who likes trains, but what kind of question is that? That's a no. God, why do I have to do this by myself? I feel alone out here, sir. I feel alone. Question number 4. When asked to make a decision, would you be swayed by your like or dislike of the personality involved? Absolutely. If you're like a cult person doing weird stuff, drinking like baby blood, yes, no. So would you be swayed by your like or dislike of the personality? Absolutely, man. I think I need the cans right now. Number 5. Do you intend 2 or less children in your family, even though your health and income will permit more? God said, blessed be the fruit. I can have as many children as I want. But it has to make, hold on. Do you intend to have 2 or less children? I don't want any children. I don't want any children. No little shit monsters. Oh my God. Why would you ask a question like that? You could breed in Seor, can't you? Maybe not. All right. Number 6. Do you get occasional twitches of your muscles when there is no logical reason for it? Yes, I twitch. It's probably from all the drugs I did. Oh my God. Twitching. I don't have enough of that pot, and I just start twitching like, oh, stop yelling at me. Stop yelling at me. That's going to be do you have occasional twitch? That's definitely yes or mostly yes. Number 7, would you prefer to be in a position where you do not have the responsibilities of making decisions? Absolutely. I want to be told what to do. I don't want to be told what to do. So I don't want to make decisions.
I think he goes through like 70 questions, right? I didn't watch it in its complete entirety, but oh my gosh, I just died laughing. And I think many of you did too. Link down below. Oh my goodness. He cracks me up and brings a nice balance at times too. It was 70 questions. Okay, good. To a lot of what goes on. And I love it. I love that he does it. Appreciate you, DOA. Sounds too like he is going to head down to Austin to join our girl Pearl Snappy for the opening of the Ideal Organization for Scientology. And hopefully our dictator, David Miscavige, will be there, which he usually is at these openings that are few and far between these days. That is going to be epic. I would love that. Absolutely love that. The only thing that would make that better is if Laura FM would join him down there too. That would be great. But his answers are they're so great. All right, let's jump over to Portland. Portland, I don't think have we talked about Portland? I don't recall. But we have a new creator in Portland, so we want to give her some love. I'll put a link down below to her channel. Nancy's going to share it in the chat. This was great. And what I like about this creator, she's approaching it too. She was kind of looking around to see what the accessibility was like for people with handicaps, if it was handicap accessible, because she is in a wheelchair and or an electric chair. Wheelchair, electric chair? Is a wheelchair and a chair that you can, operate, is that still a wheelchair or does it have another name? I don't actually know. Maybe someone can tell. I'm sure somebody will tell me. And I love that. I love that. This is what I love about the different people protesting and doing this is it's from where their point of view. It's from the things that are important to them. It just, I love when it's covered from different points of view, because the community who are affected by Scientology is incredibly diverse. So to have voices that are different, I think is so important in sharing this. So let's take a look at Portland here.
Oh, come in and watch a free film. Walk-ins welcome. Is there somebody there? There is. There's somebody there. It's not handicapped accessible on this side. I wonder if it's handicapped accessible on the other side. My goodness, they've got a lot of books in here. All sorts of them. Well, you guys can only see the reflections. I'm gonna go around in a circle. Oh, there's a chapel. You see it? Chapel. And a directory. First floor.
She does a great job giving an inside look into Scientology there in Portland. I'm hoping that Liz, Gail, if you're watching this, maybe you can connect with her. I think that would be great. The more connection we can bring between people who want to get together and protest, I think it's a good idea to not do it on your own if you can help it. But I love that she's doing this. I love that she's calling out the lack of it being handicap accessible, at least from what we saw. And yeah, I think they should connect. Doing a great job. And that is in Portland. Now, over in Arizona, another channel that's fairly new, or at least new to me, drove by the drove by the Phoenix organization to give us a look, just a little drive around. And, doing that too is helpful. It lets people know what it looks like, what they're seeing. Is it busy? Are people coming and going? And just invite more people to go out and do that and protest Scientology and live stream and share what's going on. So I love this.
Came out of there and I see somebody looking like they're in the lobby. Oh, this could be getting interesting. Last time we were here a couple of weeks ago, there was nobody. Oh, and they're having TV night. Every Tuesday is TV night. Come on down and see Dianetics live and in person. So here is the sign for Scientology. That's their building. Oh, there's a few cars back there. Ooh, their curious sign. Okay, it's a Scientology van. So on this side, there's 4 cars. Oh, and that van is back. That sign van is back. They were here when we were here a few weeks ago. And then we've got the Scientology van there. And then the funny part is the Phoenix org is right next to the LDS church.
I find it interesting that what Scientology does have an abundance on, which we need to give them credit for this, people. Parking. They have an abundance of parking because no one's there. Tons of parking. Straight up and vertical on empty parking spots. Good thing they got all those empty parking spots for these empty buildings. It goes hand in hand. Way to go, Scientology. Now, there is a guy out in Chicago. We have shared his stuff a few times. There's a link down below. It's like Trashy BMW something or other is his channel, but I linked it down below. He was outside the Chicago Scientology organization the other night and had an interaction with the police. And we are going to take a look at that. I thought he handled himself well too. I really want to see somebody out there with him. The mom in me doesn't want to see him by himself. So let's take a look at what happened.
All right, so this is going on. So it's the Illinois compiled statute falls under disorderly conduct. Okay, so hold on. There's no uniform crime reporting code indicating for us to generate an RD. It's getting documented on a miscellaneous incident exception report. So their legal team though wants to have a restraining order on you. They don't want you here. It's pretty much being documented for you live streaming the complainant's residence on the Southport end, capturing the kitchen area. Falls in the IOCS. Hold on. It falls in the IOCS. You're not supposed to do so. So they're asking if you can provide your name. That way they can get a restraining order.
I'm not gonna.
Okay. You're not gonna give your name.
I don't have to.
You have your ID?
I do.
Okay. Can I see it?
I'm not gonna provide it.
You're not gonna provide it.
Have I broken any laws?
Hey. You don't want to give your ID.
Have I broken any laws?
Notice they don't answer the question. I thought that kid did a great job there. And I find this interesting too. So in that same building where the Scientology organization is, where the staff members work, there's a residence. So they're living where they're working. That sounds a little bit like human trafficking. Call me crazy. And when I watched the video, the area that he was looking into, the part I watched, now it looked like it was where they were delivering the purification rundown. You could see the treadmills and there was tons of condensation on the windows because of the sauna. So I think that's what was happening there. I'm still can't figure out who would be living there. You know what I'm saying? Living there and working there. I thought you're not supposed to do that. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. I would love to see more people joining him there. Link down below to his channel. If you're out in that area and you want to do that, connect with him. Because like I said, the mom and me get a little bit of anxiety when I see him out there by himself. Even though I'm sure he's fine, but I just want to see somebody out there with him. All right. Now we're going to jump over to Kansas City. Check this out. Relatable Reese, who is here on YouTube, she did something big for her. She faced a fear. She has not been back to the Scientology building since she left. And for ex-Scientologists, this can be a big deal, like a legitimate, fear when you've not been there. For me, I feel that way about the blue buildings in Los Angeles. I haven't been back there since I left, but I will be back there as soon as I can figure out the time and the logistics, for if no other reason, just to walk down Hubbard Way. With the eyes I have today, with the ears I have today. So I'm very proud of Reese for doing this. This was a big step for her to get out there, and let's pop in and take a look. It's just it's a short, but I think it's great. And again, this is Relatable Reese, who's also here on YouTube.
I was brave and I did it. Okay, scooter guy. Okay, another scooter guy. It's kind of freaking me out. All right, guys, I will see you at home, please. Dude just crashed into the building. You all right?
It's short, but she did it. She did it. She got out there. And I think that is fantastic. And that is a big step. So kudos, Reese. Larry B, it is what it is. I just want to catch Tony live. Larry, Tony's coming live at 12 p.m. Central Time. So 12 p.m. my time. You will be able to catch him live today, Larry. All right. Now we're going to head over to Austin with our girl, Pearl Snappy, who just keeps it coming. She's out there protesting. She's out there creating. This girl's like creating music. And it's so Fabulous. I think this one is called what's this one called? Cans are up, TRs are out. Now, if you don't know, if you're new to the channel on this topic, when people talk about their cans in Scientology, there's an e-meter that's used that has a dial on it, and Scientologists hold on to these metal cans. Back in the day, they used to be actual soup cans. Then Scientology started making their own. So you hold on to the cans, and they say that a small amount of an electric current goes through your body, and any resistance is registered on the meter. So Scientologists are always holding on to these cans in their Scientology auditing. Training routines, TRs, training routines are drills that Scientologists do to supposedly improve their communication skills. So when your TRs are out in Scientology, that means that you're not being there comfortably and confronting that person or whatever is going on. But I love it. I love it so much. So let's take a look at Pearl Snappy. Link down below. You've got to subscribe to her channel and follow, because not only does she do a great job protesting, she has shut down recruitment in like 3 minutes. I think she holds the record, but she does it in a fun way as well.
Cans are up, TRs are out, they finally found him. The clappy kid who made a vid, and now we're all out here. Never one to go astray. This will be the end today for the clapping Kyle. For the clapping Kyle.
She's so great. She's so great. I just love it. Oh, Maria, that's a great suggestion. At Pearl Snappy, just do a song called We Stand Short at the rhythm of clapping cans. I love that. I love that, and I hope she does that. How great would that be? How great would that be? All right, let's take a peek. We're going to take a peek at some questions. Larry B, again, thank you so much here. Guys, Tony can't chat for some reason. Larry, Tony's coming. You're going to catch him at noon today, noon my time. And Larry, I think you're 2 hours behind. So keep that in mind. I'll put out a notification for that. Susan Jacobson, is the program receiving Medicaid? And I think she's referring to the NARCONON program. If they are getting federal aid when it is worth a congressional investigation. Well, the news article is talking about in the UK, so I'm not sure exactly how it works there. And hopefully that is something that somebody looks into. But that does make me curious about NARCONON here in the United States. Is the program receiving Medicaid funding? I don't know. If somebody knows how to check that or get an answer to that, I'd love it. You can email me, Natalie@tonkatalk.com, or throw it into the chat if you know already. But that's actually a really good question. Amy, I found out from a reputable true crime channel that Ashton Kutcher was added to Danny Masters' prison visit list. Wow. So he's going to go see him in prison. That'll be interesting. Ellie, if the cult of Scientology can get their members to file lawsuits against the IRS, then why can't the citizens of LA file lawsuits against the LAPD and government agencies allowing false use of resources? I don't have an answer to that question, but I think it's a good question to ask. I think these are the kind of things that we need to demand of law enforcement, of elected officials. Why? Why is this happening like this? Maria, do you think Micro Davey will dare face Scientologists in public given the state of things? Won't people ask questions, or are they too afraid? No one is asking David Miscavige a question to his face. I'll tell you that right now. You're not going to be close enough to him to do that. And if you were, I don't know if you guys have ever been when certain elected officials, like I remember when I was in Minneapolis, there was a tragic bridge collapse that killed multiple people, injured many. And I remember if a president or somebody like that comes to tour and you're in the building where they're going to be in, at least this was my experience, like you get a background check. They got to know who's there. David Miscavige, it's kind of similar. They're not going to let people close to him who haven't been vetted. So I doubt anyone can get close enough to ask a question face to face, but maybe they can do it on a bullhorn. Doesn't mean he won't hear it. Squirrel SPTV, amazing coverage. How early must you get up to put this all together? Early. I actually, during the week, get up about 5 o'clock and I work on it in the evenings as well. So it's early. On the weekend, I'm an early riser. 5 o'clock wouldn't be my first choice, but to get it done in time and have it together, that's what I try to do there. But I love it. It's a topic that I'm passionate about. I'm here doing a YouTube channel because I think Scientology is a human trafficking cult, and there needs to be an end to that. And it's only going to happen through raising awareness, through getting these stories out there, and having so many of you who've never been in Scientology continue to share, continue to just get out there and spread the word in as many different ways as you can. That is definitely what needs to happen. Ellie says, no, people not class action lawsuit, must be individual. They need to jam the system to make them stop the nonsense. Scientology back in the day had over 1,100 lawsuits against the IRS, and that had a lot to do with how they got their tax exempt status. Mike, is it true David Miscavige's hands are so small that he can't be fingerprinted? That's funny. I don't know. Nebulous 111. What about their carbon footprint? Those toxic buildings are lit up like Christmas trees at taxpayers' expense. Yeah. You'd be surprised by the amount of paper that Scientology still uses. And a lot of it is because they're paranoia. You'll see them carrying around those banker boxes. And a lot of it are mailings from organizations all over the world that they still mail things to the mother church, if you will. I think they could definitely do more work on not using up so many natural resources as well. JM Ledger, my nephew was sent to NARCONON Fort Wayne into fully covered by insurance. He has horror stories about the cleansing and bull baiting. Wow, fully covered by insurance. They wouldn't be doing it if they weren't making money off of it, because that is the motivation with Scientology. They're either making money off of it or it's a feeder line to get people into Scientology. Otherwise, they are not doing it. They're not doing anything out there that is genuinely just for the public good. That's why when there's a natural disaster and they send their volunteer ministers, they hand out way to happiness booklets. They use Scientology assists, like touch assists, which are, they believe, help people after an injury or a trauma. But meanwhile, these people don't have, shelter, don't have food. It's just the focus is always on how can we promote Scientology. Thank you for the reminder. Dip me in glitter. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe as well. Tim, thank you so much. Natalie, you're my third favorite channel on YouTube. Growing up in Scientology, then Streets LA, then your channel. But all three channels are equally great. Can't get enough of these three channels. Thank you. Those are some of my favorites too. I love Streets. I love Aaron's channel. I'm with ya. Oh, this is interesting, Catherine. Okay, it wasn't just the IRS. It was against IRS employees as well. Interesting. Interesting. Yo, Adrian. Oh, I love that name. You are so natural at this. Your little snippets from all the other channels combined with your commentary and giggles and sometimes tears, you're really making a difference. I appreciate that. I'm here because you guys are here. You keep showing up, I will keep showing up. There is no shortage of things to talk about at all. At all. I love to. I know someone loves the plant back there. That's all Tony. He has the green thumb. I cannot keep a plant alive. That is not something I've been able to do. He is much more skilled at that than I am. He's actually really good at it. Menifee app driver, is using copyright laws to take streamers out a new tactic, or have they always used copyright laws like that as a weapon? They've used it before. This seems to be a new tactic as it applies to the Squirrel Squad and the number of people live streaming currently. But I know that they've tried this before with copyrights in different ways. YRB, the riding of the police may be covered up by the overtime paid for police protection during the many non-attended food drives and special events where they close the road and need traffic control. Yeah. Yeah. The front groups is something that we'll continue to dig in. We've talked about that some, how there are even new ones that are operating under Scientology, but they'll use different names to try and distance themselves from the original. Like you could have the Way to Happiness, but you could have a spin-off group who's a front group, but using a different name, but being directed by the Way to Happiness, the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, the volunteer ministers, so much of that. NARCONON, the Foundation for a Drug-Free World. These are all front groups to infiltrate and try to grab a piece of that pie, for example, in NARCONON, where you can make money with a drug rehab. Now, remember, today, I hope you guys join us again at 12 p.m. Central Time. Tony's going to join me and we're going to jump on and do a live stream. It's going to be more Q&A, talking about what it's like to find love after a cult. Because I met Tony, I think 2 years after I left Scientology. And Tony and I have been together for 10 years now. And I think it's going to be fun to talk about. Does the e-meter actually do something scientific? And LRH claimed it was for emotion, or is it just a prop to convince the members? It's just a prop to convince the members. That's what I think now. Didn't think that when I was in there, of course, but that is what I think. Now. Savannah, do you know if they use paper because it's much easier for investigation to happen with a warrant or computers? I think it's more the paranoia of having some sensitive material being put on the internet. They try. We heard this with Danny Masterson's trial with the Jane Does, where they were writing their own reports in Scientology about what happened, how they were assaulted, and they were instructed not to use certain words. And that is purely all because Scientology is so paranoid, because they should be paranoid because they're doing shady stuff all the time. If you're doing shady things, that will make you paranoid. They're super paranoid like that. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm hoping you guys join us at 12 p.m. Central Time today for my chat with Tony. In the meantime, thank you so much for being here. Hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, like it as well on your way out. Get out there and have the most amazing cult-free day.